you hear about miracles all the time at the foundation, right? People will call, people will write and hear different things. But obviously the miracle that was actually used to move his beatification forward is pretty significant. So I'm actually very good friends with Bonnie and Travis Engstrom. They're dear friends of mine from college. And so the story of James is just, it's mind-blowing. And I think it has impacted, thousands of people to not only just see the life of Fulton Sheen, but also to see the power of God and that he's still working miracles for us today. So when Bonnie and Travis were expecting their third child, they didn't tell anyone this. They don't announce their names ahead of time, but they had been watching Fulton Sheen on YouTube and kind of knew about what was going on with his cause for canonization. And so they decided that if their child was a boy, that they would name him after Fulton Sheen. And they take that very seriously. So all of their children have different saints' names and connections. And they see that as a way of asking that saint to pray for their child. And so that happened before he was even born. After a normal, healthy pregnancy and what seemed to be a normal, healthy delivery, unfortunately, there was a true knot in James's cord. And so he was born in a planned home birth. And so after he was born, he was without signs of life. So wasn't breathing, no heartbeat, nothing that would show that this was a healthy newborn, had nothing there. So they worked on him for about 20 minutes at their home while they waited for the ambulance to come. And then they worked on him for the 20-minute ambulance ride, worked on him for about 20 more minutes in the hospital. And throughout that entire time, there were no signs of life. So his heart never started beating. He never took a breath. It's really terrible to think about. And so at the hospital, when they decided that they were going to be done trying to resuscitate him, it had been 61 minutes. Like, this is unheard of. People don't come back from that. And as soon as the doctors and nurses stopped working on James, his heart started beating back up to a normal rate for a newborn. So it was so terrible to watch as a friend of the family and what they went through and the dire prognosis for what James, what would probably happen to him, which all of the doctors and nurses expected him to pass away shortly after. So we gathered together at the cathedral with friends and family and asked for Fulton Sheen's intercession. They named him James Fulton in honor of that patron who they had kind of been asking for the intercession of throughout the entire pregnancy. So we prayed and, we waited because unlike, you or I, if this miracle had happened to us, we could, sit up in our hospital bed and say, okay, I'm okay, let's go home. He was a newborn. And so they had to wait for him to hit milestones and they had to wait for different tests and scans. And really what happened over the first year of his life was just point after point after point that he was okay, that he had been miraculously healed, that there were no ill effects from that 61 minutes without a heartbeat. So I know that around the time that he turned a year old, Bonnie's mom encouraged her to call the foundation and tell them what had happened. And so the way Bonnie tells the story is that, she called and started, telling, oh, this is my son and this is what happened. And his name is James Fulton. And she goes down the story and she was speaking to Sister Ann, who, works at the museum and with the foundation. And so Sister Ann was like, And then the more Bonnie told the story, Sister Ann kind of interrupted her and she said, hold on, I need to get a pencil, because she realized that there was something different about this miracle.